Imagine a world where a simple TV ad sparks international tension and trade wars. That's exactly what happened when an anti-tariff commercial, featuring none other than Ronald Reagan, landed Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney in hot water with then U.S. President Donald Trump. But here's where it gets controversial. Was the ad truly a serious misrepresentation of the facts, as Trump claimed, or was it simply an inconvenient truth about the dangers of tariffs? Let's dive into the details. At the Asia-Pacific Summit in South Korea, Prime Minister Carney found himself in the awkward position of apologizing to President Trump. He admitted to reviewing the commercial and even instructed Ontario Premier Doug Ford to pull it from the airwaves. "I did apologize to the president," Carney confirmed, echoing Trump's earlier remarks. He also stated, "I told Doug Ford the first did not want to go forward with the ad," acknowledging the sensitivity of the situation. This wasn't just a casual chat. The conversation took place during a dinner hosted by the South Korean president, highlighting the diplomatic weight of the issue. So, what was so inflammatory about this commercial? Commissioned by Premier Ford, the ad included a quote from former Republican President Ronald Reagan warning that tariffs lead to trade wars and economic disaster. The ad uses 5 complete sentences from a 5-minute weekly address recorded in 1987, but edited together out of order. Trump, unsurprisingly, didn't take kindly to the ad. He deemed it misleading and, in a retaliatory move, announced increased tariffs on Canadian goods and even halted trade talks between the two nations. And this is the part most people miss. The implications of these actions extended far beyond mere political squabbling. They had real-world consequences for businesses and consumers on both sides of the border. In a post on Truth Social, Trump declared, "Because of their serious misrepresentation of the facts and hostile act, I am increasing the tariff on Canada by 10% over and above what they are paying now." Ontario Premier Doug Ford, facing immense pressure, ultimately decided to pull the advert. While Trump acknowledged Carney's apology, stating, "I like him, Carney, a lot, but what they did was wrong." He apologized for what they did with the commercial because it was a false commercial. He crucially added that the U.S. and Canada would not be restarting trade talks. This underscored the severity of the rift caused by the seemingly innocuous advertisement. Now, it's important to remember the context. Premier Ford had been a vocal critic of the Trump administration's trade policies, which were negatively impacting Ontario's carmakers and steel industry. The ad, therefore, was a direct challenge to Trump's approach. But, critically, the ad did not mention that the former U.S. president was explaining that tariffs imposed on Japan by his administration should be seen as a sadly unavoidable exception to his basic belief in free trade as the key to prosperity. The ad by the Ontario government has a voiceover of Ronald Reagan criticizing tariffs on foreign goods while saying they cause job losses and trade wars. Meanwhile, amidst this diplomatic drama, Prime Minister Carney also engaged in discussions with other world leaders. He described his talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping as a potential turning point in relations after years of tension. He also met with Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi on the sidelines of the summit, demonstrating Canada's continued engagement in global affairs. What do you think? Was Trump's reaction justified, or was it an overreaction to a legitimate critique? And did the ad, by omitting crucial context, unfairly portray Reagan's stance on tariffs? Share your thoughts in the comments below.